On May 7, 2026, 20 million students across 9,000 schools woke up to take their final exams. They opened their laptops, they typed in Canvas, the platform that held their assignments, their grades, their coursework, everything they needed to graduate. The screen loaded, but instead of a login page, they saw a message. It was from the hackers. ShinyHunters has breached Instructure. You have until May 12th before everything is leaked. 275 million student records, names, emails, student IDs, private messages between students and professors, 3.6 terabytes of data held hostage during the most important week of the academic year. Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, Penn State, every Ivy League school in America locked out. But this wasn't ShinyHunters' first attack. It wasn't even their biggest. It was just the latest in a 6-year campaign that has stolen the personal data of over 1 billion people. The name ShinyHunters comes from Pokémon. In the games, a shiny Pokémon is a rare color variant, 1 in every 4,000 encounters. Players who obsessively hunt for them are called ShinyHunters. It's a hobby built on patience, repetition, and the thrill of finding something valuable that most people miss. The hackers who borrowed that name built their operation on exactly the same principle, except they weren't hunting rare Pokémon, they were hunting data. ShinyHunters first appeared on dark web forums in early 2020. Nobody knew who they were. No manifestos, no political statements, no ideology, just data, massive amounts of it, posted for sale with surgical precision. In May 2020, they announced their arrival with a 2-week blitz that stunned the cybersecurity world. Tokopedia, Indonesia's largest e-commerce platform, 91 million records stolen. Unacademy, India's biggest education platform, 10 million user accounts. Then Microsoft. ShinyHunters claimed to have stolen 500 gigabytes of source code from the company's private GitHub repositories, and they didn't stop. Zoosk, a dating app, 30 million users. Home Chef, a meal kit company, 8 million. The Star Tribune newspaper, chatbooks, Mindful, Minted, company after company, database after database. Within their first 2 months, ShinyHunters had claimed more than 200 million stolen records from over a dozen companies, and they were just getting started. Their business model was simple, elegant, and brutal. They called it pay or leak. Step 1, break in. Step 2, steal everything. Step 3, contact the victim privately with a ransom demand and proof of the stolen data. Step 4, if the company pays, the data disappears. If they don't, it gets published on hacker forums or auctioned to the highest bidder. And ShinyHunters always followed through. What made them different from other hacker groups wasn't sophistication, it was efficiency. They didn't write custom malware. They didn't exploit zero-day vulnerabilities. They walked through doors that companies had left wide open, misconfigured cloud storage, exposed API keys, GitHub tokens left in public repositories, employees who clicked on phishing links. They weren't geniuses, they were collectors, and the world was giving them everything they needed. By 2021, ShinyHunters had evolved from a hacking group into something closer to a criminal enterprise. That year, they breached AT&T Wireless and began selling the personal data of 70 million subscribers, including phone numbers, social security numbers, and personal information. AT&T denied it for 3 years, before finally acknowledging the breach in 2024. In September 2023, they hit Pizza Hut Australia, over 1 million customer records and 30 million order records. In December, they ransomed Indian retail giant Aditya Birla Fashion. When the company refused to pay, ShinyHunters dumped 5.4 million email addresses on a hacker forum. But the attack that made ShinyHunters a household name in cybersecurity happened in May 2024. Ticketmaster. 560 million customer records, names, email addresses, phone numbers, partial credit card details, all stolen through a single vulnerability in Snowflake, a cloud storage platform that Ticketmaster used to manage its data. ShinyHunters listed the entire database for sale. The asking price, $500,000. The Ticketmaster breach wasn't a one-off. It was part of a coordinated campaign, targeting companies that use Snowflake, Santander Bank, Neiman Marcus, Advance Auto Parts. Over 165 customer environments compromised, all because those accounts lacked multi-factor authentication. One missing security step, billions of records exposed behind the scenes. ShinyHunters was also building infrastructure. The group had taken over Breach Forums, one of the largest cybercriminal marketplaces on the internet. It was their storefront, their auction house, and their reputation engine, all in one. And at the center of it all, was a figure known only as SHINNY Corp. SHINNY Corp, also referred to as SP1D3RHUNTERS across Telegram channels, operated as the group's de facto leader. Google's threat intelligence group tracked ShinyHunters' attributed activity under multiple threat clusters: UNC6040, UNC6240, and UNC6661. The group wasn't a tight-knit crew. It was a decentralized network, loosely affiliated, internationally distributed, and almost impossible to pin down. By the end of 2024, ShinyHunters had stolen data from over 400 organizations. They had compromised more than 1 billion personal records. They had generated over $6 million in confirmed criminal proceeds, and no one had been able to stop them. The first real crack in ShinyHunters' armor came in May 2022. Sébastien Raoult, a 22-year-old French programmer, was arrested in Morocco. His alias was Sezio Kaizen. For more than 2 years, Raoult had been building the phishing websites that ShinyHunters used to steal corporate credentials, fake login pages that mimicked companies like Microsoft and GitHub, designed to trick employees into handing over their passwords. France refused to extradite him, but the United States wasn't going to let him walk. After months of legal battles, Morocco agreed to extradite Raoult to the US. He arrived in Seattle in December 2022. In January 2024, he was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison and ordered to return $5 million in criminal proceeds. At his sentencing, Raoult told the judge, "I understand my mistakes, and I want to put that part behind me. No more hacking." He was one of at least 3 co-conspirators named in the indictment: Gabriel Kimiai Assadi Bilstein and Abdelhakim El Ahmadi, both French nationals, both in their early 20s, were also charged. As of today, neither has been sentenced. In May 2025, a second arrest. Matthew Lane, a 19-year-old college student from Massachusetts, was charged with hacking PowerSchool, an education software platform used by thousands of school districts. Lane had used stolen contractor credentials to break in, exfiltrate data on tens of millions of students and teachers, and demand a $2.85 million Bitcoin ransom. He pleaded guilty in June 2025. Then, in June 2025, French authorities announced the arrest of 4 more suspected ShinyHunters members across multiple regions of France. The coordinated operation targeted individuals operating under the aliases Hollow, Knocked, and Depressed. 7 arrests in 3 years, across 3 continents. Coordinated efforts by the FBI, French police, Moroccan authorities, and Interpol. It should have been enough. It wasn't. Operations continued through and after every arrest. New attacks launched within days of each takedown. The FBI seized breach forums in October 2025, and ShinyHunters simply moved to a new platform. The group's leadership remained untouched. Every head they cut off, 2 more grew back.